Probably the best piece of advice, come from my dad, and he had a saying. He said, "You can make a living from 8 to 5, but you can make a fortune from 5 to 8." We're born here in Galveston. Johnny and I are identical twins, and of course Todd's the older brother. Not of course, but he is. But I grew up here in Galveston. Love the island. We're 6th generation Galvestonians, and
our dad says we're Yankees because we were born on the north side of the road. He was born at St. Mary's. We started working very young, and again, being products of the '80s, that was a real benefit. We started working mowing yards. Miss Gail Ryder was our first customer, right across the street, and she never let us raise the price, but I think we kept the price the same for 15 years, but she was a great customer.
I would drop them off in one spot, and they would start mowing, and they would push the trailer all the way around Adler Circle, and I would pick them up at a given time. But that got they ended up, they had a lot of lawns, 20 or 30 lawns or something like that.
Our dad and our uncle worked together and worked for themselves throughout their career, and so for us, we really didn't know any different than working for ourselves. So it was just kind of what we grew up with. So there wasn't really a set business plan. It's just, do 1 yard, then do 2, then 3, and try to get more and more.
The reason our partnership has worked is we've never had a hierarchy between the three of us. The way we break up our businesses, there's a brother in charge of some of the various businesses, and so there's a point brother or a point person for each of the companies that we own and operate.
There's never a time in any of our business careers where we think, how would that affect me? It's always, how would it affect the family? We became, I guess, technically legitimate in 1995. Was when Sullivan Environmental Services was formed originally. That progression started with mowing yards. Then we started bringing in palm trees from Florida. Todd spent his, I believe, spring break, your freshman year in college, went to Florida, found palm trees, sent them over here, and we planted palm trees on the west end.
Collectively, Sullivan Interest is made up of 8 different operating companies. And one way or another, every one of those operating companies gave life to the next one. We saw an unmet need, maybe a service that we could have provided just by expanding on our skill set or our equipment or people that we knew. And like I said, landscaping turned into a superintendent on a job. He said, well, can you put in the gas lines? Well, sure, we can do that. Can you put in the utilities? Yeah, we can do that. And how about laying out and doing the roads and underground? Sure, we can do all that. Then we realized one day, we're doing all this construction work. Why don't we go develop some properties?
They built a condominium project while they were students. They built a place in College Station called Canyon Creek. It's 77 townhomes, and while they were still students, they were going to class and they were building these townhomes. And even before the twins had graduated, they had already sold all of these townhomes. And then they started getting into student housing.
That was our first development. That's where we took raw land and turned it into a complete project. Redeployed some of the income from that project and really doubled down in the Heights area. And that's when Sullivan Brothers Builders really took off as a going concern.
The foundation to any good quality, long-standing business is good customer service. If you give the customer a good product, you're honest with them, and their value is good, then it will expand. If we just do a little bit extra, and work a little bit harder, we are going to outpace our competition.
Very few people know what they do because that's the way they want it. They don't want to, they think that if they go out and splash their name on something that's bragging, and they're not braggarts.
A lot of people dream about success. Other people get up and make it happen. And I believe that saying is very true for my boys. Todd, Johnny, and Billy, I love you very much. And I am looking forward to the next 15 years.
I thank the Chamber for this gift. I think it's wonderful, and I hope their story will serve as an inspiration to other children, other people. Just, you have to take a chance and you have to work.
I can truly say it would be impossible for us to do what we do if we did not have the support of our wives and fiance at this point. She's very much committed. She supports me, and if blessed enough, we will have a lot of kids. Without supporting us, without being patient with us and allowing us to focus on our work, we wouldn't be able to do our job. So they're partners. They're every bit a part of this as the three of us are.
Not many times do you get to see your children do what you want them to do. We're very fortunate in that sense for them to do what they're doing.
But it is an honor to be included amongst Miss Dancy Ware. She's a giant in her industry, and to be compared to her and be named in the George Mitchell Award is very much an honor.